Good morning, everyone. Today's in today's lecture, we are going to learn what are signals and what are systems. So, it's basically signals and systems. So, we will learn the fundamental concepts and properties of signals. And a similar way, fundamental concepts of fundamental concepts and principles systems or system. What's the relation between signals and system? So if you just have to explain at this moment, so it will be something like this, that we have a input box. So we have one input from this side. This is called your input signal. If we are using a continuous time signal, we will use xt. If we are using discrete time signal, we will use x of n, and corresponding to which, after getting it processed through this box, or you can say the black box, we get an output in continuous time domain as yt, and in discrete time domain, I'll explain as we go what is your discrete time domain, or what are continuous time signals and discrete time signals. And this box is basically your system. So basically, you apply an input to a system, and the response after we get that signal passed through the system is your output. So this side is your input, and these are your outputs corresponding to continuous time signals and discrete time signals. So this is input, and this is your output. So in this course, we are going to learn how they are related to each other, and what's the action of system on an input signal which results in an output yt or yn. So it's basically that you apply an input, and the system reacts on that input in some ways, due to which you get an output yt or yn. So what are the different applications where we use these? If you see the applications, they are almost everywhere nowadays. So if we have to say, it will be in electrical, power, different fields of electrical engineering, you can say, the grids, power grids, mobile communication, sorry for that. So its applications are in electrical field. If you divide it further, you can say it's in power, the smart grids, or the normal grids also, mobile communication, so you can see these at all these places, and there must be some more areas which are not mentioned by me here. Now we have in journal the signal which is available to us is continuous time signals, or you can say it as an analog signal, and we change it to the discrete time signal. So in this course we are going to study both continuous time and discrete time signals. Now, before we start with what are continuous time signal and discrete time signal, the first thing is what is signals. So the signal, it's basically, if we are talking to someone, so in talking to someone like I'm speaking now on this video, so basically I'm conveying some kind of information, or I'm transferring information, the knowledge which I have, to my students and the viewers. So basically signal is, it conveys or transfers information about a process from one point to another. So if we are providing information in some way, then it is a signal. But if something is like, there are certain things in the world which is known to everyone, so in that way, that like you take breath, so it's basically not providing any information to someone, even though you can say that you are saying to someone that take breath, but even though that person is already taking breath, so you are not providing any kind of information. So if you are conveying information, or you are transferring some information to someone, then it is a signal. Or you can say, if there is a variation in time domain or the space, then it is a signal. So if we just take some example like EM waves, electromagnetic waves, any image. So electromagnetic waves is an example of signal in time. Image is an example of signal in space. And if you see a video, it is an information in both time and space. Now, we usually define a signal by xt or y of t. So it's basically, we say them that they are variable of time. So xt, if I say that it belongs to, or it is defined for an interval t1 and t2. So if this signal is defined for complete time period, complete time which is defined here, no time period, from T1 to T2, then this is a continuous signal. Continuous signal means there is not even a single point of discontinuity in it. Then it is a continuous signal. Like we know, cos 2 pi ft, it belongs to an interval this value between -1 and 1. So if I have to sketch it, so it will be of this form. So this signal is basically your cos 2 pi ft. F is the frequency of the signal and it is varying with respect to t. So this signal, you don't see any point of discontinuity. So then that signal is a continuous time signal. But if we have a signal like, suppose I say that a discrete time signal, which you might not have heard, or discrete time signal, or if I have to bring it according to what you heard, is digital signals. Digital signals are basically when there are two levels allowed to the signal, means they are in the form of 1 and 0 only. So there are only two amplitude levels. In discrete time domain, signal can have many amplitude levels, but they are defined at discrete time. So we can say the discrete time signal, one of the form is your digital signal. So it's one of the form. So if I have to now define discrete time signal, so it can take discrete set of values, can take discrete or finite set of values. So if I say that xn can take belongs to -1 and 1. Please notice here that I'm not using the square brackets, I'm using the open brackets. So it means that it can take only either -1 as a value or 1 as a value. Or if I say that it belongs to 0 and 1, then it becomes a digital signal. So if the xn takes this form, then it is a discrete time signal. So if I have to show you the plot of it, it will be something like this. If I have to just show the discrete time signal, then it will be, I'm just taking any example, so it's 1, so let's say this is 2, this is 1 amplitude, all these 1, this is -1, -1, -1, and let's say this is defined at point 0. So then in that case you can see that this signal is defined at discrete time. So if I mention this as 0, this is 1, this is 2, this point is 3, 4, 5, 6, -1, -2, -3. This -1 is amplitude and this -1 is the point on time axis. Now this signal is defined at discrete times. So you can see that you don't see anything between these 2 points or any of the points. So you can say the signal is discontinuous between 2 discrete times. Then it is a discrete time signal. Then we have real and complex signals. Real and complex signals. So it can be in both discrete time domain or continuous time domain. So if a signal is, let's say, xt and xn denotes in discrete time domain, and they belongs to real numbers. When I'm saying real numbers, means the values of the signals are only real quantities. So if the values of the signals belongs to real numbers, then they are real signals. On the other hand, if you have a signal for which xt or x of n belongs to set of complex numbers, let's say xt is equals to your e raised to the power j omega t. So j is, if you know this or not, equals to -1 under root of square root of -1. So it's a complex entity. In a similar way, if I have to define it here, it will be e raised to the power, let's say, t. So then it's a real entity and this is a complex entity. If you remember it or not, we can write e raised to the power j omega t is equals to, why I'm telling it now, because we are going to use this thing quite often in this course. You need to remember this, that it is always like that. And also another thing which you need to remember is that if I have to write cos omega t, then it is equals to and sin omega t is equals to divided by 2j. Now there are signals which are named as deterministic signals and random signals. So the signals are deterministic and random signals. As the name indicate, deterministic signals whose behavior you can determine. So for example, that suppose you are looking at the pendulum, so you will be able to determine pendulum in a watch or a clock. You will be able to determine how much time it's going to take to come back to its mean position. The other example is that, like, if a person goes to his work every day at a certain time in the morning, then you know that according to the behavior or the requirement of the job, you can determine what time that person is about to leave. So these are the certain things which you can determine. If you are able to determine certain things, then, or you can say you know it well in advance, what will be the output of something, then it is deterministic signal. And if the behavior of something is random, then it takes some random values at different time, then it is a random signal. The perfect example in communication system is noise. So if a signal is traveling through any medium, maybe wired or wireless medium, in both cases the signal is encountered by noise, always encountered by noise. Okay, so deterministic signal means we can say the behavior can be determined. So you have xt or xn, that is completely specified at any given time instant. So it's basically, you can say et, e raised to the power omega t are the examples of deterministic signal. You can apply the input with respect to time, and you will be able to find the value of it. Another name is your random signals. So what they do is they take random values at different time, and the perfect example with respect to it is if you are playing cards and you are drawing a card out of 52 deck, out of deck of 52 cards, you don't know which card you are going to draw out of it. If you are tossing a coin, you are not aware whether it will be a head or a tail. If there are 6 different colors balls in a box, and you are not looking into the box and you are just picking any ball out of the box, then you are not aware, or you can say you are not certain which color of ball you are going to pick from the box. And in the real life, the perfect example for this is your noise. So it's like, so you don't know the nature of the signal. So signal can take any amplitude at any time instant. It's like this. So noise is the perfect example of the random signals with respect to our daily life. Then we have another type of signals that are even and odd signals. So if for a signal x of minus t is equals to x of t, then it's an even signal. For discrete time domain, if x of n minus n equals to x of n, then again it's an even signal. The perfect example for this is your x of t x of t equals to cos 2 pi ft. So if you replace t by minus t, then x of minus t will be equals to which is equals to, there is one more reason of this. If you remember that in trigonometry we use the identity cos of minus theta, it comes from here. We use in trigonometry, which I was explained in very detail in trigonometry how it works. But there is another way of looking at it, that how to see whether the signal is a discrete time signal, even signal or an odd signal. So if a signal is symmetric about it has a symmetry, then x, suppose I say xt, so you can see that this x of t is symmetric about, you can see it has a symmetric. So if I plot it further, you can see that it is symmetric. So if a signal is symmetric, then it is an even signal. If it's not symmetric, then it's an odd signal. So now next thing is, what are odd signals? So if x of minus t is equals to minus of xt, then it's an if x of in discrete time domain, then odd signal. And again, the perfect example for this is your sine wave. Sorry, please mind my drawing, I'm not good at. So if it's a x of t is equals to your sine 2 pi ft, so you can see that this signal is not symmetric about this y-axis. It's basically symmetric, you can say, in opposite quadrant, but you need not to think about much about it. It's basically, you can just look at the signal and you can see that this is not symmetric, then it is an odd signal. Next type of signal which we have are periodic and aperiodic, or you can say non-periodic signals. Now for a signal, if for a signal there exists xt plus t equals to x of t for all t, means you are shifting a signal by a time and you are getting the same signal xt, then it's a periodic signal, and the period of the signal is basically your this capital T. So if you are shifting a signal by its time period, then you will get the same signal. In discrete time domain, it is represented as n plus capital N. Usually capital N is used to represent a time period in discrete time domain for all n. Then again it's true. Now let's just take an example. We have this sine 2 pi f t, and so let's say, as we know, the time period with respect to it's 2 pi. So if we are shifting this signal with according to the 2 pi thing, so what's the time period here? We have to use t, capital T, as 1. So if I write this as, if I shift it by sine, I write it as 2 pi f t plus 1, then this is equals to sine 2 pi f t plus 2 pi f. And if I assume that my frequency is equals to 1, then it is equals to sine 2 pi t plus 2 pi. Sine 2 pi plus theta, if you remember it, sine 2 pi plus theta, you are in the first quadrant, so it's equals to sine theta. So you can say your answer is sine 2 pi t. So if you are shifting a signal with its time period, then it is equivalent to basically that you receive the original signal back, where t is the period of the signal. Now if t is the period, then m into t is also the period of the signal. Why it's like that? So suppose m has values equals to 1, 2, 3 and so on. So just take an example with respect to this. So if I have, in place of m equals to 1, I have m equals to 2. So then this thing will become 4 pi. So for sine 4 pi plus theta is again sine theta. If you have 3, then you will have 6 pi here, and it will again become sine 6 pi plus theta is again equals to sine theta. It's basically you are taking rounds in the quadrants, and you are coming back to the first quadrant by doing sine 2 pi plus theta. So we can say that t is the fundamental period. We can say that t is not the period, it is the fundamental period of the signal. So these are the main type of signals which we have done in this lecture. In the next lecture, I'll start with energy and power signals. Thank you. Please like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.